Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig Sports. This is the CFL DFS video for week number 7. If you're joining me for the very first time, first of all, welcome in. Second of all, this is how today's video will be structured. We'll be going over my CFL DFS sheet for week number 7, talking about every player that I do find relevant, talking about whether or not I consider them a GPP play, a cash game play, a pay down option, a dart throw, anything from that range, and then a little bit of I'll be overweight, underweight, in line with the field, slightly overweight, slightly underweight to the field, just in terms of ownership. But without further ado, we'll get started with the Edmonton Elks. This is a rematch of last week where we saw the Elks and the Redblacks have a pretty good shootout that did go into overtime. So at quarterback, we got McCoy Bethel-Thompson, $9,700 GPP play. I will be overweight to the field on him once again this week. Do like him in this matchup. Then at running back, really not getting to Kevin Brown once again. Really hasn't been a good year for him overall. GPP pay down option, Javon Leake as kind of that return guy, as well as getting a little bit of opportunity as a running back. So probably going to be in line with the field on him ultimately. In terms of the wide receivers, mainly the guy that I'm going to try to get to once again this week is going to be Herji Mala. Last week was his first week back from injury, but $5,800, had a really strong season to start off the year. GPP option, maybe even a cash game option if you want to go that way, but we'll be overweight to the field on him. Curly Giddens Jr., disappointing week for him last week, $7,300 GPP option, probably in line with the field on him ultimately. And then, if you want to play Eugene Lewis, if you want to play Dylan Mitchell, you can definitely do that. Just particularly not guys that I'm going against. Even though Eugene Lewis had a pretty decent week last week. Arkell Smith did have the touchdown, so pay down option if you want to go that direction. And then moving down to that Elks defense, I do consider them a pay down option with a question mark behind it once again. $3,700. Defense didn't look that great last week, and I think they blew a lead in that game, so probably in line with the field on them this week overall. Going back-to-back against the same opponent sometimes is good for the offense, sometimes it's good for the defense. Hopefully this is the case where it is good for the defense this week overall. And then we move down to the Redblacks. We got Drew Brown at quarterback, $8,400 GPP option. We have to say that because of what he did last week against the same opponent. Probably in line with the field on him once again overall. It does offer that upside, but there is some risk to it at the same time as well. Then at running back, Raquel Armstead, $7,300. So price tag did go up just a little bit, but GPP option probably in line with the field on him once again this week. In terms of the wide receivers, we do have Braylon Addison returning this week. He missed last week due to Achilles soreness, so $2,600 could be a pay down option if you want to go that direction. And then Devontae Dedmon, the returner, $3,600 out this week due to hip injury. We will see some return duties go to Khalil Pimbleton, who had a really long touchdown last week. And I believe it's Tobias Harris, one of their defensive backs. So we'll see what that looks like ultimately as that game goes along. But in terms of the wide receivers, Justin Hardy, $9,900 GPP option, will be overweight to the field on him. Had a really long touchdown last week, still kind of their top wide receiver overall. Pimbleton, like I said, he at $3,500 with some return duties. If he's a factor on offense at all, could be an interesting pay down option. So I'll probably add him after this video in that regard. Probably just in line with the field on him. Maybe slightly underweight just because he had that long touchdown. So maybe people get a little bit too overexcited for that. Then we have Dominique Rhymes. Had his first good game as an Ottawa Redblack this season. $6,100 GPP with a question mark behind him. Probably in line with the field on him. I think people are probably going to be a little bit higher on him since he's a familiar name and he's coming off that pretty good week. Then in terms of that Redblacks defense, $4,100. I'm just not getting there overall this week. And then we move down to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. We got Zach Collaros at quarterback, $9,400, coming off a pretty good week. So I will consider him a GPP option. Probably going to be ultimately in line with the field on him. We'll see ultimately where that ends up, though. And then we have Brady Oliveira, $9,500 GPP option, slightly overweight to him again this week. Technically, he missed Monday's practice with that shoulder injury, but was able to practice in full the rest of the week. He is on the depth chart, so not worried about him whatsoever. And then I will note that Chris Smith and Myron Mitchell both were sent down to the practice squad, and they did bring up Cody Case, so Cody Case will be doing the return duties for them this week overall. He's not on DraftKings. And then Michael Chris Ike at fullback. He is out due to an injury. He was placed on the 6-game injured list. So Bailey Feltmate will be the fullback for them this week, who I believe is kind of one of those fullback / linebacker hybrids that we'll see in the CFL from time to time. And then in terms of these wide receivers, so Ontario Wilson had the really big week last week. He's up to $4,600. GPP option, probably going to be in line with the field on him this week. Probably going to see a decent amount of ownership after a very large target game. But other than him, mainly looking at Drew Wolters-Iski as a paydown option at $4,300, slightly overweight to him. And then Nick Dominski coming off a pretty strong week at $7,100. GPP option, probably going to be overweight to the field on him once again this week. Did miss Monday with a knee injury, but was able to practice the rest of the week, so not worried about him whatsoever. Then we move down to that Blue Bombers defense, $3,900. They haven't been great so far this year, but GPP option in line with the field going against the Roughnecks and Shea Patterson at quarterback. Then we move down to that Roughnecks team, and Shea Patterson at quarterback, GPP option if you want to get there at $8,600 will be slightly underweight to the field on him. Don't think too much of the field's going to be getting to him either way. Has a little bit of rushing upside, which has given Winnipeg's defense a little bit of fits in recent seasons, so there is a slight upside there, but not really too interested in him overall. And then at running back, we have A.J. Allo at $8,700, GPP option, slightly overweight to the field on him once again. I think they're going to be able to run halfway decent on Winnipeg this week overall. Bruno LaBelle remains out at fullback due to his leg injury. He was placed on the 6-game IL as well. Then we move down to wide receiver. Duncan Busby does remain out due to a hand injury, although he was able to practice in full all week. Really, the only wide receiver I'm getting to for this Rough Riders team is going to be Samuel Amos at $4,400. It's a really good price tag for him. Paydown option has shown really good chemistry with Shea Patterson through those first 2 starts, so we'll be overweight to the field on him. Maybe even a potential cash game option if you want to go that direction. In terms of that Rough Riders defense, they're $3,800 GPP option if you want to get there in line with the field. Winnipeg's had some struggles so far this season, although they are coming off their strongest game as an offense. Then we move down to the Tiger Cats. We got Bo Levi Mitchell at quarterback, $9,500. GPP option. I have in line with the field question mark. I think I'm probably going to be close to it. Maybe slightly overweight to the field on him this week overall. We'll just kind of have to see how it all shakes out. James Butler at running back, $9,600. It's been a little bit of a down season for him so far. GPP option probably ultimately going to be in line with the field on him once again this week, but does have some pretty decent upside if he's out there catching passes and able to run the ball somewhat effectively. Then at wide receiver, we have Shamar Bridges, wide receiver, $5,700. GPP option, maybe even a cash game option. Will be overweight to the field on him once again this week. He had a really strong season to start off his CFL career. And then we got Stephen Dunbar Jr. at $4,700. GPP option with a question mark behind it. You know, you can go out and play him if you really want to. Probably going to be in line with the field on him, maybe slightly underweight to the field. We'll just have to see how that all shakes out. And then kind of these other wide receivers, not too interested in, just in general. Tim White's at $10,100, GPP option if you want to get there, but we'll be underweight to the field on him this week overall. We'll see if Smoke Harris stays up to return those kicks or if Lawrence Woods is back this week. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then in terms of that Tiger Cats defense, $3,200 GPP paydown option. We'll be overweight to the field on them. You know, this Argonauts team just hasn't been as good on offense as compared to recent seasons, and Cameron Dukes is a main reason why. Then we move down to the Argonauts. We're going to start off with Cameron Dukes. We'll be underweight to the field on him this week, just not really getting to him myself personally at $10,000. Way too pricey for what he's done in recent weeks. He's kind of been figured out for better or worse at the CFL level. Then at running back, we got Kadeem Carey, his $9,200 GPP option if you want to go there. Probably going to be slightly underweight to the field on him this week overall. They've been working these other running backs in a little bit more, which is something that I did expect to happen, but has kind of taken a little bit of time. Deontay McMahon, $2,900, an interesting paydown option. He does get a little bit of return work here and there every once in a while. Uses a little bit out of the backfield, a pretty good receiving back, so you could get to him in kind of a pinch if you wanted to. And in terms of the wide receivers, Rasheed Bailey is $4,500. Probably going to be in line with the field on him once again as a GPP option. Same thing with DeMonte Coxie at $5,100. Other than that, not too much to note here. Obviously, they've been kind of spreading the ball around, not throwing the ball a ton as well. Kevin Meidel remains out with that foot injury, and then David Unger III remains out due to a hamstring injury, although he was able to practice in full all week once again. For that Argonauts defense, $4,500 GPP option if you want to go that direction. Probably going to be in line with the field on them this week against Tiger Cats. You know, as Bo Levi Mitchell has a tendency to throw interceptions in recent seasons. Been a little bit better at it so far this season, but there still is that upside out there at the same time as well. And then we move down to the final game of the week with the Stampeders. Jake Mayer at quarterback, $8,500. And I kind of have GPP with a question mark behind him. Obviously, it's kind of been the Tommy Stevens show in terms of getting the rushing touchdowns in recent weeks. So if you want to get Jake Mayer, you can. Obviously, the high-end upside is still there. The low-end downside is also still there at the same time as well. Then we moved down to running back with Dedrick Mills, $7,500 GPP option in line with the field. Had a really strong week in week number 6. Think he has a good chance to do the same once again this week, so wouldn't be surprised with that. Maybe even slightly overweight to the field on him this week, although I do like kind of a lot of these running backs, so nobody's truly standing out as much as they would some other weeks. In terms of wide receivers, Clark Barnes was a little bit banged up on Wednesday. Did practice in full on Thursday due to his knee, so should be good to go this week. Then we have Reggie Begelton, $8,600 GPP option. I think I'm going to be overweight or slightly overweight to him once again this week. Ryson John was able to practice in full on Wednesday and Thursday. He's still on the 6-game injured list. We'll see if he's back this week or not. More of a special teams kind of big body guy than anything. Mark Michelle, $5,500. I got cash with a question mark behind him. Still like him quite a bit this week. Probably going to be overweight to him once again. And then other than that, really not getting too many other guys in that wide receiver room. We did see Cam Akers-Looper, be healthy last week and get demoted to the practice squad. So that was something to note. And then for that Stampeders defense, not really getting there versus the Lions this week at $3,500. Stampeders got a decent defense. It's kind of a pay down option or a dart throw if you really wanted to get there. I'm just not getting there myself personally this week overall. Then we move down to the Lions with Vernon Adams Jr., $12,500, by far the most expensive quarterback. Once again, GPP option, probably in line with the field, maybe slightly overweight to the field on him once again this week. Seems like every week he's just pretty good. Obviously, last week threw for a lot of yards, but had the 2 interceptions, only 1 passing touchdown. So a little bit of a down week for him overall, but does have the highest upside probably of any quarterback on the slate once again this week. And running back, we got William Stanback, $8,100 GPP option, slightly underweight to the field on him. Don't really think he's warranting that price tag at this point in time. And then in terms of wide receivers, Keon Hatcher was able to practice in full on Wednesday and Thursday. Obviously, he's working his way back from that Achilles surgery. We'll see whether or not he's back this week or not. And then we have Javon Catoy, $3,200. Was a game time decision for last week's game, did not play, and then he has been unable to practice Wednesday and Thursday this week due to that same rib issue. So going to keep an eye on him. Probably don't expect him to play once again this week. In terms of the other wide receivers, Alexander Hollins, $11,300, and Justin McInnis, $10,700. Both GPP options probably going to be in line with the field on both them this week once again. Probably be slightly more on Hollins. Once again, I know it didn't work out last week, but I'm going to keep going back to that because I think Hollins is still kind of the top guy for them, but we could be wrong. Obviously, both did see a good share of targets last week. And then Stanley Berryhill, if you want to get there, $2,700 is kind of a pay down option. You can definitely do that as well. The Lions defense, $4,300. Probably going to be in line with the field on them this week overall. Still a decent defense. There is some upside to be had against that Stampeders offense. There is some downside at the same time as well. And then last but not least, the Montreal Alouettes are the lone team on the bye this week. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on my CFL DFS sheet for week number 7. As always, if you have any questions related to CFL DFS for week number 7, be sure to drop them down in the comments section of this video. And then with that being said, the sheet will be constantly updated as we do get more news headed to lock. If you are a Patreon member, you have access to that. If you'd like to join, it's a very small monthly donation over there. We'll also be listing all the depth charts down in the comments section and any major relevant information as well pertaining to this slate for week number 7. So definitely be sure to check up as we do get closer to lock. But with that being said, if you were brand new to my channel, checking it out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build a community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we have MLB DFS in terms of the core pick videos Monday through Friday. Obviously, that will be starting up tomorrow once again since MLB's back after a little hiatus from the MLB All-Star break. And then I do have my CFL DFS videos typically going up on Wednesdays. Obviously, this week's a little bit different since 2 Friday games instead of the 1 Thursday game, 1 Friday game, 1 Saturday, 1 Sunday. So a little bit different structure this week. I wanted to get this video out a little bit later just so we had as much information as possible headed into the slate. But once again, all that information will be continuously updated on the sheet if you're on the Patreon side, and then in terms of the depth charts and other notable news down in the comment section of this video as well. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for BetUS, Parlay Play, and Prize Picks. If you're a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites, when you sign up, make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Prize Picks and Parlay Play, it's 100% match up to $100. And then for BetUS, it's 125% match up to $2,500, and that will be on your first 3 deposits. I believe the $2,500 is in aggregate on those 3 deposits. So definitely some great opportunities to be had out there. If you have any questions about that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comments section of this video or on Twitter at Coach Greg Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for this week's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day. No matter what day you're watching this on, a great weekend overall, and some good luck in CFL DFS for week number 7.